At 95 years old, Clint Eastwood remains one of the most enduring figures in Hollywood, a man whose very name has become synonymous with strength, resilience, and cinematic greatness. After decades of silence on many aspects of his life, he has finally begun to reflect on not only his career, but also on the people who walked alongside him, including Robert Redford, another titan of American cinema. Their careers often paralleled and contrasted one another, each defining an era of film in his own way. Eastwood's reflections open a window into a lifetime of art, struggle, and triumph. Clint Eastwood was born Clinton Eastwood Jr. on May 31, 1930, in San Francisco, California. His early life was not the glamorous backdrop one might expect for a future legend. Raised during the Great Depression, Clint's childhood was shaped by economic uncertainty. His family moved frequently in search of work, experiencing the instability that millions of American families faced during that era. Eventually, they settled in Piedmont, California, where Eastwood would spend much of his formative years. From a young age, Eastwood stood out physically. Tall, lean, and strikingly handsome, he carried himself with a quiet confidence that would later define his on-screen persona. Yet Hollywood seemed far removed from his world. He worked a series of blue-collar jobs, including lifeguard, forest firefighter, golf caddy, and even steelworker. These experiences gave him a grounded sense of reality, an appreciation for hard work, and a rugged quality that never left him. During this period, he developed an interest in performance, though not in a conventional or direct path. He was not groomed for stardom, nor did he have connections in the entertainment world. His natural charisma, however, did not go unnoticed. Slowly, he began to secure small acting roles in the 1950s. These early opportunities were modest and often forgettable, but they provided him with experience, discipline, and persistence. Eastwood's beginnings were a lesson in resilience. No overnight fame, but a steady climb shaped by hard work and determination. Eastwood's first real breakthrough came in 1959 when he was cast as Rowdy Yates in the television western Rawhide. The show, which ran until 1965, gave him the opportunity to display his natural presence and stoic demeanor. While some actors of the time relied on loud performances and overt theatrics, Eastwood's quiet authority and measured delivery set him apart. For 6 years, Rawhide allowed him to become a familiar face in American households. Yet he was still confined to the limitations of television, and many wondered if he could ever break through as a film star. Eastwood himself remained restless, knowing that greater opportunities awaited. His patience would soon pay off in a way few could have imagined. The turning point came when Clint Eastwood traveled to Italy to work with director Sergio Leone. At the time, Hollywood stars often dismissed Italian productions as low-budget or unworthy, but Eastwood saw the potential. This collaboration resulted in the legendary Dollars trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars, 1964. For a Few Dollars More, 1965, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. As the mysterious man with no name, Eastwood revolutionized the image of the Western hero. Gone was the clean-cut, morally perfect cowboy. In his place stood a laconic, morally ambiguous figure whose silence was as powerful as his gun. The rugged landscapes, sparse dialogue, and innovative direction of Leone combined with Eastwood's screen presence to create cinematic history. These films not only made Eastwood an international star, but also redefined the Western genre itself. The Dollars trilogy remains a cornerstone of world cinema, inspiring countless filmmakers and setting Eastwood on a trajectory that would shape his career for decades. By the early 1970s, Eastwood had firmly established himself as a leading man, yet he was not content to simply remain in front of the camera. In 1971, he starred as Inspector Harry Callahan in Dirty Harry, a film that created one of cinema's most iconic characters. With his tough demeanor, piercing glare, and the unforgettable line, "Do you feel lucky, punk?" Eastwood once again cemented his place in pop culture. That same year, he made his directorial debut with Play Misty for Me, revealing his interest in crafting stories from behind the lens. To ensure creative freedom, Eastwood founded his own production company, Malpaso Productions. This gave him control not only over the projects he chose, but also over how they were shaped. His efficiency, no-nonsense directing style, and ability to draw strong performances soon won him respect as more than just an actor. The 1990s marked a new era of triumph. With Unforgiven, 1992, Eastwood delivered a masterpiece that deconstructed the very Western myths he once helped build. The film won him Academy Awards for Best Director and Best Picture, proving his talent extended far beyond acting. His success continued into the new millennium with $1 Million Baby, 2004, a poignant drama that again earned him Oscars in the same categories. These achievements elevated him into the realm of filmmaking legends, alongside names like Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg. Beyond these, Eastwood's directorial catalog included Mystic River, 2003, Letters from Iwo Jima, 2006, American Sniper, 2014, and Sully, 2016. Each film explored different genres: crime, war, biography, and human drama, yet all carried Eastwood's signature style: minimalist, focused, and emotionally powerful. Critics often praised his ability to tell stories with honesty and restraint, avoiding spectacle for the sake of spectacle. By the 2000s, Eastwood had transformed from a Western star into one of cinema's most respected filmmakers, a man whose work resonated with audiences around the globe. While Clint Eastwood's professional career soared, his personal life was far more complicated. In 1953, he married Maggie Johnson, a beautiful model who supported him during his early years of struggle. Together, they had 2 children, Kyle, born in 1968, who pursued a career in jazz music, and Allison, born in 1972, who followed her father into acting and directing. Despite their long marriage, Eastwood's extramarital affairs became well known in Hollywood. The marriage endured for decades, but finally ended in divorce in 1984. Reports suggest Maggie received between $25 and $30 million in the settlement, a reflection of Eastwood's success by that point. His relationships outside of marriage often made headlines. Though discreet in his younger years, Eastwood fathered multiple children with different partners, some of whom remained unknown to the public for years. This aspect of his life painted a picture of a man whose personal choices were as complex and unconventional as the characters he portrayed. One of Eastwood's most significant relationships was with dancer and actress Roxanne Tunis, which began in 1959 while he was still married. Their romance lasted until around 1973 and produced a daughter, Kimber, born in 1964. For years, Kimber's existence was not widely acknowledged, underscoring Eastwood's ability to keep certain aspects of his private life hidden. In 1975, Eastwood entered a long-term partnership with actress Sondra Locke. Their relationship lasted nearly 14 years and was highly publicized, especially since they worked together in films like The Outlaw Josie Wales, 1976, Every Which Way But Loose, 1978, Bronco Billy, 1980, and Sudden Impact, 1983. Their creative and personal connection defined much of Eastwood's late 1970s and 1980s era, though their breakup was bitter and widely reported. Beyond film, Clint Eastwood cultivated passions that reflected his multifaceted personality. A lover of jazz, he composed music for several of his films and often cited music as a lifelong inspiration. His sensitivity to rhythm and tone could be felt in the pacing and atmosphere of his movies. In politics, Eastwood stepped into public service when he became mayor of Carmel by the Sea, California, serving from 1986 to 1988. His election reflected his commitment to community and his willingness to take on leadership beyond Hollywood. He also spoke out occasionally on political issues, though he always maintained a fiercely independent stance, refusing to be tied to rigid ideological labels. Now, at 95, Clint Eastwood reflects on a life that has been anything but ordinary. His career stretched from humble beginnings to international superstardom, from cowboy hats to Oscars, from the dusty backlots of Italy to the grand stages of Hollywood. Along the way, he left an indelible mark on American culture and redefined what it meant to be a star. When speaking about contemporaries like Robert Redford, Eastwood does so with a mixture of respect and rivalry. Both men carved their own unique legacies, each leaving behind a cinematic imprint that continues to inspire. For Eastwood, the journey was never about fitting into Hollywood's mold, but about creating his own. His story is one of resilience, independence, and relentless pursuit of excellence. Whether remembered as the man with no name, Dirty Harry, or the Academy Award-winning director of timeless films, Clint Eastwood stands as a living legend, a figure whose presence shaped not just cinema, but the very idea of American storytelling. Though Clint Eastwood's romantic life was complex, one constant throughout has been his children. Over the years, he fathered at least 8 known children with multiple women. While his relationships often drew headlines, his role as a father shaped much of his later life. Kyle Eastwood pursued music and built a career as a respected jazz bassist and composer. Allison Eastwood became both an actress and director, occasionally collaborating with her father. Kimber, his daughter with Roxanne Tunis, eventually stepped into the entertainment world as well. Other children, including Scott Eastwood, made a name for themselves in acting, carrying the Eastwood legacy into a new generation. Despite the differences in upbringing, Clint reportedly worked to maintain relationships with his children, especially later in life. His family often appeared alongside him at premieres and award shows, underscoring his desire to celebrate their achievements as much as his own. While his family dynamic has been unconventional, Eastwood's children represent a living continuation of his legacy, ensuring that the Eastwood name remains tied to Hollywood for decades to come. Clint Eastwood is more than an actor or director. He is a cultural icon. His characters have become shorthand for toughness, resilience, and justice. The man with no name set the standard for anti-heroes, while Dirty Harry became a symbol of uncompromising strength in a turbulent era. These roles not only entertained, but sparked debates about law, morality, and society. Outside of film, Eastwood's image appeared in countless references across pop culture. From parodies in animated shows to tributes in music and literature, his persona became larger than life. Even those who never watched a full Eastwood film recognize his squint, his silence, and his gravelly voice. His influence also extended into fashion and style. The poncho and cigar from Leone's westerns, or the revolver and badge of Dirty Harry, remain instantly recognizable symbols. As decades passed, Eastwood managed to avoid fading into nostalgia. Instead, he continually reinvented himself, moving seamlessly from rugged actor to acclaimed filmmaker. This rare ability to remain relevant across generations is part of what cements him as not just a Hollywood star, but an enduring figure in American culture. When Clint Eastwood speaks about Robert Redford, it is often with respect, but the unspoken rivalry between the two men cannot be ignored. Both rose to prominence in the 1960s and 70s. Both became synonymous with rugged masculinity, and both eventually transitioned into directing with extraordinary success. Yet their approaches were very different. Redford was polished, charming, and often portrayed idealistic characters. His directorial works like Ordinary People won critical acclaim, while his founding of the Sundance Film Festival shaped independent cinema. Eastwood, by contrast, carried a grittier persona. His films leaned into moral ambiguity, survival, and the darker shades of humanity. Though the two rarely worked together, their careers often mirrored each other, with fans and critics drawing comparisons. Eastwood admired Redford's contributions, particularly in creating opportunities for emerging filmmakers through Sundance. Redford, in turn, acknowledged Eastwood's impact in redefining American cinema through sheer independence and artistry. Now, in his later years, Eastwood has admitted that their paths, while separate, contributed to a broader tapestry of American film history. Together, they represent two sides of Hollywood, one of polish and vision, the other of grit and raw power. Few actors remain relevant past their prime, but Clint Eastwood defied time. Even into his 80s and 90s, he continued directing, producing, and occasionally acting. Films like The Mule, 2018, and Cry Macho, 2021, showed his unwillingness to step away from storytelling. His ability to create compelling narratives at such an advanced age speaks to his discipline, passion, and commitment to the craft. Physically, Eastwood remained remarkably strong for his age, often credited to his lifelong dedication to fitness, diet, and a simple lifestyle. Unlike many of his contemporaries, he never succumbed fully to the excesses of fame. His quiet independence and personal discipline allowed him to maintain both his health and his career. As audiences watched him continue to work, Eastwood became a living reminder of Hollywood's golden past, still active in the present. Clint Eastwood's story is more than a Hollywood biography. It is the story of perseverance, reinvention, and cultural impact. From a Depression-era childhood to international superstardom, from cowboy hats to Oscars, he carved a path that few have ever matched. His characters defined generations, his directing shaped modern cinema, and his personal choices, however controversial, added layers of humanity to his myth. His influence stretches far beyond the screen. Filmmakers cite him as inspiration, audiences continue to revisit his classics, and younger generations recognize his image even if they have never seen the original films. Eastwood's life is proof that legacy is not built overnight, but forged over decades of risk, creativity, and resilience. Even as he enters the twilight of his life, Clint Eastwood stands as a living legend, his name etched permanently in the history of cinema. Over the span of more than 6 decades, Clint Eastwood has accumulated a treasure trove of awards and honors that reflect both his artistic achievements and his cultural significance. His 2 Academy Award wins for Unforgiven, 1992, and $1 Million Baby, 2004, remain his crowning achievements, cementing him as one of only a handful of filmmakers to win Oscars for both Best Director and Best Picture on multiple occasions. Beyond the Oscars, he has received Golden Globes, Directors Guild of America awards, and BAFTA recognitions, showcasing the international respect for his craft. In 1996, the French government awarded him the Légion d'honneur, France's highest decoration, acknowledging his contribution to cinema as a global art form. Later, in 2009, President Barack Obama presented him with the National Medal of Arts, further honoring his influence not only as an artist but as a cultural figure. Film festivals around the world, from Cannes to Venice, have celebrated Eastwood with Lifetime Achievement Awards, recognizing his ability to transcend borders with his storytelling. To this day, retrospectives of his work continue to be held globally, attracting both film scholars and fans. These accolades are more than just trophies. They represent the respect Eastwood has earned as a rare figure who conquered both sides of filmmaking, as an actor who defined genres, and as a director who elevated cinema into enduring art.